my first experience, actually my first day my name, should I say my name? Is Janananda Das Goswami. I'm made in England. I first saw the devotees in 1971 in London, you know. And the first day I went to the temple. I'd never seen the devotees before. And after lunch, one of the devotees came up to me and he said, "Come with us, we're going on Sankirtan." I said, "What's that?" They said, "Sankirtan means bliss and ecstasy." I thought, wow. And being at that time myself a bit of a hippie, I thought, well, what is this? I've given up drugs. And then, you know, I thought, ecstasy and bliss. So I went out with them on Sankirtan on the street. But I was a hippie in those days. So it was quite an amazing experience going down Oxford Street, you know. People throwing things at us, swearing at us, calling us funny names. I couldn't believe it. I wasn't used to that, you know. The devotees were just dancing away. Like there was no, you know, it was only the devotees in the temple. They were all dancing and singing, ecstasy. I was at the back wondering what was going on. But that was my first day in experience in Sankirtan. It was quite kind of, how to say, we were really odd in those days, you know. Hare Krishna was really odd. It was just coming to, you know, 1968, 69 came to the UK, and most people had no idea who we were, you know. And we didn't have any congregation. It was only devotees living in the temple in those days. No Indian, nothing congregation. So it's just the devotees going out, and they had these bald heads and these bed sheets and all these things. People thought we were coming out of a nut house or something. Or come out of bed, you know, they didn't know what to make of us. And the police would arrest us every day, and it was quite a scene when I joined, you know, I was going out on Harinam. That was the program in those days. We would go out anything from 7 to 10 hours a day on the street every day of the week, you know, 6 days of the week, and then Sunday morning as well, before the Sunday feast. Because that was our program. We had very few books, and they didn't have anything else really in those days, no farms or anything like that. So the devotees were just going out and just dancing and dancing. It was just amazing. My first experience was a bit funny, but after a while we started really getting into it. And you just let go. You forget about all the worries, what people think of me, you know, what's going to happen to us, what the weather's going to like. You know George Harrison? He actually became convinced about Krishna consciousness. Most people may not know that, but he became convinced because he saw the devotees on Oxford Street every day going back and forth, chanting Hare Krishna every time he drove past in his car, with a chauffeur-driven car. And he would see the devotees chanting in the rain, the wind, the snow, the heat, the cold, everything, and seeing them getting arrested. It convinced him that, you know, this is something real. After all, we are the Hare Krishna movement. We're not, you know, that's our real thing. You know, this kirtan is our life and soul, Prabhupada said. So, you know, there was so much kirtan in those days. I mean, all the older devotees, they grew up living kirtan practically living it, morning to night. And now if you count the kirtans in the temple, we would go to at least 3, if not 4 kirtans a day in the temple every day. And what to speak of 8 or more hours on the street. And then there's chanting whilst we were doing our service as well, not just on the street. This helps to take us off. Harinam Sankirtan helps to bring us off the mechanical platform. It helps us, gives us this opportunity to actually enter into the unlimited ocean of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan. What can you say? It's just so ecstatic. And I got a little bit of taste in those early days. And then after some time, you know, we got involved in management. I got involved in this, organizing book distribution, back to programs, kitchen programs, temple commander, temple president, regional secretary. Went through the whole show, you know. And then, I don't know, somehow, I liked kirtan, but I wasn't really a kirtan. And people didn't look at me as a kirtan man. I was a bit shy, actually, to be honest. And somehow or another, I guess it was, I traveled around a lot. I was in Malaysia for quite a while. And there I was, like, pretty responsible for the society for some time, and I guess there I got kind of really into kirtan more, just because, you know, when you got a lot of new devotees, and it's all congregation practically, so we would just try to do lots and lots of rath yatras and festivals and things to try to get the devotees into kirtan. And I guess it's there that I really started to feel a kind of like take seriously the kirtan. After the first year or 2 in the movement, kirtan kind of faded out into the background almost as far as street kirtan goes. And hardly anyone went out. It was just like once a week for an hour. I calculated one time when I joined, if you take the total number of devotees and the total number of hours in a day, right, and you work out the total amount of percentage time that devotees spend on chanting Hare Krishna in public. It worked when I first joined. It was total, including, that means 24 hours. I mean, you sleep for 6 probably, or thereabouts. You eat, you do many things. And I'm talking about devotees in the temple. But the average was about 20% of the total time of all the devotees. And some had to do daily worship and cook and this and that. And that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time. And then in about 20 so years later, I did the same calculation in the same temple. So it was 20% in 1972. It was 0.2% in 1992. Can you imagine? 20% to 0.2%. And this is this is the Sankirtan movement. This is the Yuga-Dharma. This is Lord Chaitanya's instruction. Take the holy name, Piti Piti Yati Yati Nagarati Gram. Take it to every town and village. This is intelligent people. Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishnam Sangam Pangasta Parshadam. Intelligent people, what do? They don't sit around. They're chanting the holy names of Krishna. Somehow or another, I went through a lot of difficulty, I must say, for quite a period of time. Maybe out of that also, that gave me a deep conviction. And somehow or another, we got really into a little bit, not say really, but got a little bit into Sankirtan in terms of going out on the streets. And I realized that this is really what I'm meant to be doing. And this is what it's all leading to. It's to follow in the footsteps of Nityananda and Haridas Thakur and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and to go out and to share this. We've got the greatest, we've got the medicine. People are out there dying on the streets, literally, absorbed in complete maya. And we've got the most valuable thing. What are we doing? And how do we really experience that? My understanding is that when you share it with others, when you share it with other people, the Lord shares himself with us. If you keep it to yourself, he keeps himself to himself. He doesn't reciprocate in the same way. So japa and everything else is really important, there's no doubt. But this is the real way, and my experience is this is where I really find somehow or another a connection with Krishna when I'm out there on the street and just, well, I don't have any realizations, but just that, just going out and sharing this greatest gift that Mahaprabhu's given us, that Srila Prabhupada has given us with other people, and seeing how they, who have practically no knowledge or no idea what it is, how it ignites their hearts. Now, just to see somebody, when we come on the street, and it doesn't matter how many, honestly speaking, it makes no difference whether there's 1 or 1 million devotees. I'll tell you frankly, I don't believe it. I've had some of the best Harinams I've ever been on with 1 or 2 devotees. In New York, I was going on my own on Harinam, and all I would get was, where have you guys been? What's it all about? What are you doing? It's amazing. It depends on us. There's no doubt about that. It depends on our hearts. When we're in our heart, if we're actually feeling we're so fortunate, we're so privileged to have this opportunity. Lord Nityananda is so kind. Srila Prabhupada is so kind. And we just, just be there with this mood of gratefulness, this mood of, how fortunate we are. And automatically, Krishna does the rest. And when you see that, you can see Krishna more or less present in all these people. People are smiling and laughing, and sometimes they're joining in. Muslim people, every type of person appreciates this Sankirtan if we appreciate it. There's no doubt if we don't appreciate it, it can be a little bit austere, we could say. Otherwise, what can I say? I know we're not supposed to enjoy Krishna consciousness in one sense, but you can't stop the mercy of Krishna when we're doing this activity. That's my experience. And even Jiva Goswami explains that, in the performance of Nama Sankirtan, congregational chanting, even a neophyte, even a non-devotee can experience this pleasure. They don't know where it's coming from. It's coming from the mercy of Nityananda. It's coming from the mercy of the Nam. So that was my experience, and more and more and more, I'm seeing now complete transformation in the world. Although it doesn't appear to most people, but now you go, everywhere I go. I go. I haven't been to South America, but I've been on Harinam in practically every other continent in the world. Most countries probably, I don't know. And I see everywhere. It's just incredible. Even in the farthest places in Russia or in China or in Japan and Australia, New Zealand, all over the Far East. We did Harinam in Iraq one time. That was in Baghdad. That was funny. That was back in '76. And that was good also. But everywhere I just see that people are their hearts are becoming purified. people like it. It's not like in 71, 72, where people thought that we were a bunch of mad people. We should get rid of these guys. But now I see people, they appreciate it. People gather around still. Sometimes you've got hundreds of people gathering around, and they smile, they laugh, they come and give donations. It's a reciprocation. You know, if we can get over this little egotistical thing of thinking, well, what do people think of me, you know, this, that, the other, and oh, how I dress this. People don't care how you dress so much now, less now than ever before. I can vouch for that, there's no doubt. They dress in some bizarre ways. Businessmen have blue things coming out their hair, purple suits, jeans, t-shirts. They don't care, businessmen, you know. They're not worried about all that now. They like you to be what you are, not putting on a show. Don't worry about it. Even if you go out in your suit, doesn't make no difference. It's the holy name which we distribute, not suits. If that helps you, great. But if it doesn't, just do it anyway. And then you'll experience, wow. So many times we take congregation out all over the world. Many times it's just me and 20 devotees living outside the temple. I call them community. I don't call them congregation, because congregation refers to their hours. I see that we're all in the same team. It's just that some are working with families and some aren't. But we're all one team. So we take out devotees who are part of the community, working people, household people, whenever possible. We got little parties all over the place doing it, in Australia, New Zealand, different places around the world. And it's just amazing. And all of them say, well, why don't we afterwards, you know, say, oh, I can't go out. They give so many, sometimes in mind, you know, it gives us these excuses. And when they go out, they think, well, why don't we do this more often? That was great, you know, that was fantastic. You know, why don't we do it more often? You know, it's a fact. You know, this is where real happiness lies. I don't have all the deep realizations and the philosophical understanding. I just have the experience of just seeing devotees feeling so much happiness going on Sankirtan. You know, we get all these mental trips, oh, this thing, that thing, how we're going to solve this problem and that problem. But this is, you know, this is Prabhupada has given us, this Sankirtan, Bhajatan has given. This is the solution, the cure to all problems, is it not? I mean, you know, you can spend all your life going to this thing and that thing, and another problem comes along, you know, another headache comes along, another obstacle comes along. But this is the one-stop solution. Everything's there. You know, by having faith in the holy name, you know, you'll find everything's arranged. Krishna takes care of everything. Your problems just fly out the window. Just clap your hands and the birds fly away. You know, it's just incredible. And the more we get into it, of course, it's that concept in our heart, and the more we, as we mentioned earlier on, the people can pick up on it, no doubt. But it takes a little time. Just get into it. Just let go. Forget about all these other things, and just chant the holy names, and you'll find yourself becoming very happy. And if you can dance, dance. Smile, dance. Put your hands up. It's really ecstatic. It's a really wonderful experience. This makes you happy when you put your hands up like this. Give it a try. Anyway, that's just a little bit of my experience here and there on Sankirtan. And I say wherever we go, whether it's in England or whether it's in Europe or whether it's in Africa or Australia or New Zealand or Far East Asia or Middle East. I haven't been to the Middle East much, but in India, everywhere, you know, it's just wonderful to share this with our brothers and sisters. After all, everyone's our brother and sister. Everybody in the creation, you know, we're all the same. We're Krishna's parts and parcels. So to share that mercy of Krishna with all the living entities it's just, you can say it's Tashanti Chiramanticha. Krishna says it's joyfully performed, you know, it's not meant to be. If you walk down the street like this, people aren't going to be very inspired. People are looking for happiness. People are looking for joy, you know. And just get into it. Just do it. It's just one, and it's not so difficult. If you want to, you can just sit down and chant. We have devotees in many places. You just sit down on the park or on the street, and they just do nice kirtan. And they have a book table there, and they have all Prabhupada's books there. And people are coming up, and they're just asking, what's the book about? And they're paying money, taking the book. There's many ways you can, you know, if you find it, you know, jumping around and running along the street, not your cup of tea. You can sit down somewhere and just try it and see how much Lord Nityananda mercy comes to us when we try to follow in his footsteps. Hare Krishna.